That day in the evening, when signed on the documents and gave it to Mrs. Jeon. Work hard. That's the only way to be successful. The landlord blessed her. In the night, when quietly had her dinner, though she was asked multiple times how the dinner was, Loki, she was delighted as she was getting princess treatment from everyone. Yet she couldn't stop herself from noticing Jungkook's behavior. He wasn't ignoring her. She noticed how respectfully he was looking at her, even didn't try to avoid her during their moments of eye contact. He even asked her what she wanted to have in breakfast. His tone, his presence felt so positive that she stopped worrying for the decision she took. Van's high school and Jungkook's middle school were situated in same location, so the campus were adjacent. The main library was commonly used by the students of both institutions, especially the huge common study area, though there was a clear but untold divider line for the high schoolers and the medical students in the reading area. So, the only place Van and Jungkook could meet was the library area, and to avoid an eye contact with any student doctor, Van used to sit back facing the medical students. Everything was normal until one day when was having a reading session with her group. Of course, she wasn't the only girl in the group, yet it wasn't the only girl group. There were boys. Though Wen didn't like any of the boys of her class or her gang, and she was conscious about her limitations. Wen, help me to solve this problem, please. One of her classmates dragged the chair towards her. Let me see. She scrunched her nose as the boy disturbed her at the middle of the problem she was solving. Coincidentally, Jungkook was in the library that time with a few med students. He turned his face as he heard the sound of dragging a chair, and he gasped, seeing a boy sitting so close to his wife. His eyes were fixed on them, while the boy was trying to get close to her, but Wen didn't react at all. Neither she foiled him nor she stopped him, and that triggered him. He waited for good 10 minutes until the boy had nothing to ask Van. Finally, the boy left the library as he had classes probably, and Van almost collapsed on the table, feeling relieved. Closing her eyes, she sighed. Do you like him? Jungkook whispered while taking the seat beside her. Van was startled seeing him. Probably it was the first time he was interacting with her personally. She shook her head in denial. I know he likes me. He was trying to approach me, but. Shh, this is library. We will discuss about this later. He glared and left the library. For the first time, Van wanted to stop him, but she didn't. She just kept looking at his figure. She noticed his broad shoulders were prominent even under the long apron. After finishing her school, when she finally came back home, she planned to lock herself inside the room to avoid Jungkook, but the fingerprint sensor didn't work as she tried to unlock the door. Welcome home, Mrs. Jeon. Hearing Jungkook's voice, Wen felt like she would, but she managed to hold the pressure. Come to my room. I have some serious discussions with you. Jungkook glared at her. Like an obedient child, she followed him. Do you want something? He raised his pet bottle to offer her, but she almost ran into his washroom. I need to use your washroom. Jungkook was angry, but her behavior kind of mulled him. He chuckled. After around 2 minutes, she finally stepped outside the washroom. Changing to normal clothes, he literally threw a pair of his used t-shirt and boxers. Wen didn't utter a single word as she herself was feeling disgusting wearing the sweat-drenched uniform. Can I use your products? When picked from the washroom, Jungkook just nodded, but didn't utter a single word. After almost 10 minutes, Wen finally stepped into the room with wet hair wrapped in a towel. I'm done. Jungkook was just an 18 years old teenager. Looking at the feminine figure, he definitely did his best to control himself as he glanced. She was smelling awesome and also looking awesome putting his t-shirt and boxers on. He gulped down an amount of saliva to suppress his each and every instructive thoughts and patted on his bed. Sit. When sat on the place where he patted on the bed. You like him. His voice was gentle. No? Her answer was straight. When I'm not forcing you to say no, I'm asking you, do you like him? He asked again. No, and I have proper justification. In the future, I don't want to pet a dumb donkey, so no. Wen shook her head. You don't like to pet any clever animal either. You never talked to me. His fingers were busy on keyboard and his eyes were fixed on the desktop screen. But you are not clever like a fox. You are cute like a bunny. At this moment, she realized that she must hesitate before saying, Game over. He whispered as the game was over because his attention was shifted. I'm cute. He finally turned around and looked at her. Still, you never spent an extra single word. Sorry. She lowered her head. For what? He raised his eyebrows. For everything. For not talking to you, for not stopping him. I should have ignored him, which actually I did, but I guess he had found that I'm single, she uttered. You're not single, you're married. He playfully chuckled. I'm sorry, Mr. Jeon. She lowered her head. I mean, Dr. Jeon. He found her too cute and also noticed she was straightforward. And probably heard that quality made her approachable. You forgot your relationship status because I respected your schedule. But at this point, you need punishment so that you would never forget who you were. You will be doing my laundry from tomorrow. He casually shrugged his shoulders. Laundry means your t-shirts and jeans? She tried to figure out. Was it only your dress when I did the batch of laundry for you? Did I ask something? He playfully raised his eyebrows. Okay, but will you not be angry if I regularly knock your door? She asked as she heard she would have to fill his water bottle too. First of all, I generally don't close the door, and last but not the least, you just can take the empty bottle and refill it. That's all I have asked for. With a strong stare, he was trying to read her mind, and all he could guess that to her he was just a brother figure, just like Yoongi or Taehyung. He had no impact in her mind based on the documents she had signed previously. He sighed in relief, yet it broke his heart as, in all his instructive thoughts and fantasies, She had suppressed everyone as the central character since she had signed the documents. Deep down, he wanted to prove the society that she belonged to him. Accepting the terms and conditions, Wen took the empty water bottle and went to the kitchen. Jungkook thought for the next few minutes. He actually wanted to gift her something. He was low-key desperate to show her how sincere he was. He happily wanted to carry all her responsibilities, but he knew she won't accept. So, giving a second thought in that matter, he decided to gift her stationery supplies occasionally. He was afraid as he might ended up just being a daily water bottle filling schedule or the weekly laundry schedule in her life. And for these reasons, he wanted to be highlighted. He desperately wanted to have a special place in her heart. And from that day, there was no breaching in the contract. Van started wearing a ring on her ring finger and successfully drew the line that no one male friend of her didn't dare to cross. Jungkook was used to with her presence in the adjacent room. She was a cheerful girl, or probably like every girl who is the glory of their respective households. She successfully completed her schooling, college, and eventually achieved her degree too. It was a rainy winter night. Mrs. Jeon was out of the town because of her work. Yoongi and Taehyung had evening sectors, so they left the home earlier. Coincidentally, Jungkook was in the home, but he wasn't feeling good for no reason. Constantly, he was feeling like he was going to be lonely. He feared that he might lose her. It was pouring outside. Jungkook checked the time. It was 0 o'clock when Van knocked on Jungkook's door. Come in. He chuckled as he was used to with her knocking pattern, but as he noticed her face, he instantly became pale. For the first time, he felt that what he feared might come true. You're crying? She noticed the water bottle was almost empty, so without uttering a single word, she took that and went to the kitchen. Jungkook was getting furious, yet he managed to wait for her. After a few minutes, Wan came to his room. Will you tell me what happened? Why are you crying? There was an obvious sense of entitlement in his tone. I have cleared all the rounds. I will be joining as an employee of the KFS. She hiccuped. What? Jungkook's eyes sparkled. I'm so happy for you, Van. It's a great news, but why are you crying? You crazy girl, don't cry. For the first time, he embraced her. When is your joining? He wiped her tears. Tomorrow morning. I have to leave tonight, otherwise I will be late. Don't worry, I have arranged everything. She sniffed. Let me help you to pack, Jungkook uttered. I have taken everything I needed. She finally made eye contact with him. It would be better if it would remain unknown to you that, to me, you were never my elder brother like Yoongi Oppa or Taehyung Oppa. Jungkook was too stunned at that moment. Though Van wanted to cherish the moments, but she couldn't. She wasn't that much strong emotionally, so she took her backpack and left the Jeons house. I have always respected our relationship the way it is. She curved her lips for the final time before getting inside the cab. Her words seemed too tough to digest. The moment the rented car engine was ignited, Jungkook realized that he just let her go. He realized he let go his first love. Probably he missed his first too.